Hi, this is Mark with eReplacementParts.com, and we're going to talk today about how to get your tools winterized or ready for the winter for storage. First thing we're going to talk about is the fuel system. If you leave fuel sitting in your gas-powered equipment during the winter, the fuel inside the carburetor can actually damage the carburetor. It'll turn into a gel, and it can varnish the internal parts of the carburetor. The varnish will plug the small orifices inside the carburetor, and next spring when you go to use it, it won't want to run. So we're going to start by getting the fuel out of the tool. In this case it's a trimmer. I'm just going to take the gas cap off. Here I have an old transmission pan. This works good, or any other pan that will hold fluid. And I'm going to dump the old gas out. And of course you want to dispose of this properly at a recycling center, or in this case it's 2-cycle fuel, and I can just go ahead and use this in my snowblower as long as my container is clean and the gas hasn't become contaminated. Move that out of the way. Next thing I want to do here is on my carburetor itself there's a primer bulb, and I just want to go ahead and prime this until all the fuel runs out of the carburetor. You can kind of fill it on the primer bulb. It gets very easy to push once the fuel's out. And I'll just go ahead and dump that little bit of fuel back out. Not much there this time. And now that'll get the majority of the gas out of the carburetor. Now there's still going to be a little bit of gas left in that carburetor, just enough to cause us headaches. So what I'll do is go ahead and start the tool and run it until that gas is out. And in this case, the gas was all out, and it's ready for winter as far as the fuel is concerned. There are several different schools of thought on what's the best way to store your tool as far as the fuel goes. I've chosen the method where I've removed all the fuel and run it completely dry, put a little bit of oil in the cylinder to keep it from rusting. Another idea is to use fuel stabilizer. You'd put fuel stabilizer in the gas and just allow the stabilizer to protect your carburetor and all the other fuel components throughout the winter. Another idea, and this is a method that I also like, is you leave fuel in the tool all winter long, but once a month you go out and run all of your gas-powered equipment for maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And that just puts new gasoline into the carburetor where most of the damage is likely to occur. With that idea, it's more proactive. You're always replacing the old gas with new, and I think that's probably the best option as far as keeping your carburetor safe throughout the winter and not becoming clogged. Now we're going to work on the cylinder of the tool. We don't want to leave the cylinder dry during the winter because it can rust, especially if you live in a more humid climate back east or in the south. The humidity in the air can actually cause rust inside your cylinder and on the piston. So what I'm doing here is removing the spark plug. And with the spark plug removed, now I can get access to the cylinder and down to the piston. I'm going to use just a little bit of WD-40. You can also use a little bit of your 2-cycle oil. You don't need a lot. You don't want to pour a whole bottle in there by any means, but just enough to lubricate and coat all those surfaces with a little bit of oil. That'll help protect them from rust and ensure that your machine will start in the spring when you go to use it again. This is also a good time of year to worry about a couple other maintenance issues on all of your gas-powered equipment. For one, the air filter. I think it's a good idea to replace your air filter as well as your fuel filter at least once a year. And if you get in the habit of doing this as part of your winterizing program, then you ensure that it happens every year and you're always going to have a good running tool. So here I've opened up and removed the air filter. You can see there's quite a bit of debris on my air filter, so I want to replace that. For your fuel filter, On most machines, you have to access that through the fuel tank. You open up the tank. Easiest way to do this is with a piece of bent wire. Bend a little hook. You can go down through the opening of the tank, grab your fuel line, pull the line with the fuel filter attached out, and then you can replace your fuel filter. Now we're going to talk about winterizing your lawnmower for the winter season. Same ideas as winterizing any other gas equipment, trimmers, edgers, etc. Just a little bit different layout. With a lawnmower, same thing, we want to worry about the gas system. Whether you're going to leave gas in it, use stabilizer or get the gas out altogether. On a lot of lawnmowers, if you want to remove the gas from the carburetor, they will have a shutoff valve in the fuel system. In the case of my mower here, the shutoff is right on the fuel line here. It's just a simple valve. I turn 90 degrees, and now the fuel can't get to the carburetor. Now there still is gas in the carburetor, so I would need to run the lawnmower to get all that gas out. It'll probably run for 3 or 4 minutes and then die. Once it dies, continue to try to start it until it won't start anymore, because it'll probably start and die 3 or 4 times before all the gas is out of the carburetor. As far as winterizing goes, that's about all you need to do on your lawnmower. But again, the fall is a great time to do your maintenance for next spring. That would include checking the air filter and either cleaning it out or replacing it. On my mower, it's right on the front here. Pull it out. This is a felt type filter. I can blow this out many times with an air compressor before it needs replacing. So I'll just blow this out to get mine ready. You would want to replace the spark plug. Again, you probably don't need to replace it every year, but if you get the habit of doing it every year, you'll know that the maintenance gets done on your machine. On my machine, the plug is right here. I just pull the plug out and replace it with a new. And go ahead and sharpen your lawnmower blade as well. A sharp blade ensures a healthy lawn. If you don't have a sharp blade, your lawn's going to get diseased. So make sure you do that at least once a year, and probably not a bad idea to do it 2 or 3 times a year if you remember to do it. And of course, change the oil in the engine. Again, for most homeowners, once a year is all you need to worry about. The fall's a great time to do that. Run your machine for just a minute or 2 just to get the oil warm so it'll flow easily. On most lawnmowers, mine included, to change the oil, I just pull out the dipstick, and then I would tip the lawnmower onto its side, draining the oil into a pan. Once all the oil's out, replace it with new, using your dipstick as a guide for how much oil to put into the machine. Be sure not to overfill it. That can damage the mower just as much as underfilling the machine. You'll want to use either a 10W30 motor oil on your lawnmower, whatever brand you like. It doesn't need to be specifically a lawnmower oil, just any auto oil will work fine. Or a 30 weight oil will also work good in most machines. If you're in a colder climate, probably the 10W30. If you're in a real warm climate, the 30 weight will probably work best for you. And that's about it for winterizing and servicing your lawnmower for next year.